This Racing Life with Albasti EquiWorld, the leading supplier of horse feeds and supplements.
We're back for the latest and newest episode of This Racing Life. Sit back and relax. Here's what's coming up.
She's always been the pick, in my opinion. She's by Kingman out of Madame Zeroni. As good a first foal as you could hope for. You know, she's correct, she's got good bone, she's very attractive. We don't have as many colts as we have had in previous years, so we've got a few fillies going through the ring this year, and she'd be, I think, the main one.
I actually think that breeding and betting are very similar things from an analytical perspective, because when you are planning up a mating and looking at the aspects of that, I think it's very, very similar to sort of plotting a bet. I think the mindset to that is very similar.
It's not easy. It's not just like, oh, just because your dad did it means you can do it. It's a lot of work that goes into making these big, making these yards kick. I always wanted to, and I think Dad's been very happy with what we've done so far, and keep trying to do everything to make him proud. But he's a hard taskmaster, so we just need a couple of those real big ones now to seal it, I suppose.
For me, it's not just a job. It's just a lifestyle, because that's what it is.
And you love it.
And I love it, yeah. So today I'm not at work. I'm just doing my hobby,
Everybody loves having him on the place too. He's so wonderfully cheerful. It doesn't matter, things that go wrong in this game very easily. We all know that. And he just goes about it in such an enthusiastic and wonderful way.
And so here we are in the beautiful surroundings of Chasemore Farm, owned by co-founder of Betfair, Andrew Black. And as you might expect, his approach to stud farm life is most analytical. His silks have become famous, the green with the purple cap, for plenty of success, particularly with the fillies. And with the yearling sales, important sales, just around the corner, we've come to find out a little bit more.
Other Book 1 Kingman, slightly different type from a family that we've done very well with and really like. It's a family that have been consistent and strong, and I think she'll be a good Book 1 sale. She's full sister to a filly called Boomer, but Boomer wasn't like her. I would say she's different type. Boomer was a bit smaller, a bit more thick set, and she just looked like she would be earlier. So I don't think she's necessarily another Boomer. She'd be a slightly different type, but she could develop into a very, very nice filly.
So Jack, really exciting time of year coming up with the Tats Yearling sales on the horizon, and a lovely filly. We'll talk about her in a second, but as regards your role here at Chasemore Farm, what's your day-to-day job?
So day-to-day, just undergoing all the work regarding all the horses. We're run as a committee, so we have a vet, a maintenance manager, and then I'm the farm manager, and Andrew and Jane be our directors, as well as an office manager, so we all chip in with our part, and my part is the horses and all the staff that deal with the horses. So yeah, the burden is spread, which is nice.
And it's nice to have such a tight-knit team as well.
Yeah, this is our best team ever, I think. We've a lot of the staff have been here for a good few years now. Everything's going well at the minute. So,
and
yeah.
You've got a sort of encyclopedic knowledge of all the breeding of every single filly and colt here, haven't you?
Yeah, that's about all I can remember though. My wife, the diary at home, I can't remember what's happening next Saturday, but I can remember her great-great-grandmother's right fore was twisted out.
You're perfect for a stud then, aren't you?
Yeah. But no, it's our passion. Me and Bert would be very similar. We can remember all of that, just like that. And I think most of the staff are the same in racing. It's your passion as well as your hobby and your work.
You remember what you're interested in, don't you?
Exactly that. And I'd be like that as a child at school. If I wasn't interested, you wouldn't really want to do it as much. But when you work in your passion and your hobby, that's one way to live.
And at the moment, you're busy prepping the yearlings for the sales. And
yeah.
What exactly goes into that?
So the fillies sort of come in last week of July this year. So the first week is just about them settling in their boxes, and the fillies don't take it as well as the colts. So we give them an extra week, and then the colts come down the week after. So we sort of aim for about a 10-week prep. As I say, the first week's just getting them used to being in a stable environment, eating up, as I say, being more isolated. They still go out in the paddocks every day. The fillies go out with 2 or 3 friends, and the colts are in individual nurseries, so they still get to be a horse. And we just build things up from there, really. In the first week, they would have their bath, have a rug, learn how to be groomed properly, maybe tidied up their manes, picking feet out and stuff like that. And then we progress to the following week, hand walking, going on the walker, steady on into lunging, all the way up till the end, and practice parading as well. So yeah, all the things they need to be ready for and prepared mentally and physically for a sale.
So it is a tried and tested process.
Yeah. No, we've sort of stuck to the same formula for the last few years, to be fair. And like I say, with good staff undertaking it and a good plan. The main thing is, I think, is just having them settled, relaxed, and the routine. If the routine's on point, the people are more to be on point, and the horses know exactly what's going on. When the routine's all higgledy-piggledy, I find that's when you get mistakes and problems arise. But you'll see today how relaxed they are. They know exactly what's been happening. They've been out in their exercise this morning, out in the paddock, and in the afternoon, a bit of practice parading and grooming, and they know exactly what's expected of them.
This is quite good timing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She's a lovely filly, isn't she? Just tell us a bit about her.
She's absolutely beautiful. I mean, I've been banging on her to Bert since the day she was born, to be honest. She's always been the pick, in my opinion. She's by Kingman out of Madame Zeroni. As good a first foal as you could hope for. She's correct, she's got good bone, she's very attractive, and she reminds me a lot of her close relative Noble Style, who won the Gimcrack and was lot 1 of Book 1 a few years back. So she's also in Book 1, and obviously, as owner breeders as Bert and Jane are, it's a shame to be selling fillies like this, but it's an expensive game, and we don't have as many colts as we have had in previous years. So we've got a few fillies going through the ring this year, and she'd be, I think, the main one.
The breeding game, how did that come about? Was it always something you wanted to do?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't have that kind of background. I mean, I've come to it from betting. I guess most people don't come to it from that angle. I think, doing Betfair and then getting more and more involved with horse racing just through that. Started out, I had a few mares at other people's studs and just built it up from there. And then this farm just came on the market, and I just thought I'll give it a go. And just have not regretted that decision at all.
And I think, as you say there, from your Betfair background, you come into it from a very different angle. It's a very interesting one too, a more analytical approach, I suppose.
I actually think that breeding and betting are very similar things from an analytical perspective, because when you are planning up a mating and looking at the aspects of that, I think it's very, very similar to sort of plotting a bet. I think the mindset to that is very similar. And that's what I do. So I don't particularly rate myself as having a particularly good eye for a horse, and I'm not particularly expert on all the aspects of bringing them up. What I do is I just focus on the mating. I focus on what to buy and what to sell, that sort of thing. So most of my time is spent, building spreadsheets and reading, and so on and so forth, and not so much spent out and about in the fields.
Well, we've seen some of the yearlings this afternoon, and they're being prepped and readied for Tats Book 1, Book 2, Book 3, and it's a very exciting time of year for you, I imagine.
It is. I mean, we get very sort of, I guess, a little bit nervous, a little bit excited. You go down there. I mean, probably more often than not, you're going to get disappointed, because you love what you have, you think the world of it, and you kind of feel disappointed if the world doesn't agree with you, and you don't get properly paid for what you have or properly respected. But then you get a good sale, and that feels amazing. And I get very emotional going down to the sales. It means a lot.
How does it work with you then when you've had a fair bit of success so far with homebreds on the racecourse? What's the process in your mind between separating horses that you want to keep for yourself and horses that you're going to sell on?
It's very difficult. I guess there are certain families who we might feel we need an extra one of. So we might have a certain very, very nice mare. I want to make sure I've got at least 2 of her daughters so that I never lose that family.
Okay.
Also, you just get a feel for them. I mean, I guess we normally keep back 3 or 4, just and hope that one of those will work out, because that's probably as much as you're going to get.
And I guess it must give you a huge amount of satisfaction, really, to have a family that stays at Chasemore over the years and generations, and to see how the offspring develop, how they go on from the very first mare.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange thing, because the mares I paid the most for have typically left very little here. I mean, the biggest family we have here all comes from one filly who I claimed from a Wolverhampton claimer for 17,000.
Really?
And all of our best horses have come from her.
Wow.
Which is just weird, doesn't seem to make any sense. And there are mares I paid, $500,000 for plus in the sales, and they've left behind nothing, and they never really produced anything. So sometimes it's very hard to work it all out.
And as regards the success that you've had with the homebreds on the racecourse in your colours, Chasemore Farms colours, you say that you get emotional at the sales. Do you get emotional when you win on track?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm a very emotional person. I mean, when Breege won last year, I was actually in the car. I was racing back to get home, try and watch it on TV, and I realised I wasn't going to get there in time. So I watched it on my phone on the side of the road, and I couldn't get back in the car for about 5-10 minutes. It's just such a surprising thing. But I think when they surprise you like that, that's all the more emotional.
Here in the heart of the Berkshire countryside, we have come to West Ilsley Stables, a yard steeped in prestige and one that has been home to some of the finest trainers down the years, some of the finest that history has had to offer. And the latest of those, and still fairly fresh-faced on the licence, is this man. So Jack, you're now in your 3rd year on the licence, you're fully ensconced. Do you feel this is now Jack Channon racing?
I suppose so, yeah. Like you say, obviously there's always going to be that sort of hangover period from when you take over. The first year everyone's, I suppose, be saying, well, they're mixed horses and everything like that, and it takes you a couple of years to obviously have the horses that you sort of train the whole way through, and no, I think we're starting to put our own sort of stamp on the way we train, and the results are starting to reflect that. And no, look, we're very happy with the way the first 3 years have gone, and we're looking forward to the next few. Certain Lad and Johan are my 2 best horses, as it stands.
Yeah.
Both group winners. Great old servants. They are Group 3 level. On their day they may be able to win a Group 2. They're just below top class, but they're 2 very, very good horses. But as you rightly say, we've got some younger horses that could potentially, go beyond them. And I've got some very nice 3-year-old, I think Sarab Star, but he's won his 2 novices. He is a completely unknown. I think he's very smart, and I think he has the potential to be that very good horse. But there's a lot that goes in. Talent's not enough sometimes. They've got to have everything. They've got to have the constitution. They've got to be able to go and perform on a regular basis, and he's yet to be able to prove that. But I've got no doubt the talent's there.
And results are important, statistics are important to you, I know, and the fact that the strike rate continues to go up year on year, grows all the time, must be very satisfying for you.
Oh, very much so. We're always looking to improve in many ways, and that was one of the aspects that we felt that we could make a difference in, and probably just the way we place horses and the way we campaign horses are a little bit different. But we're trying to maximise. We're not blessed to have 10, 20 Night Thunders and Frankles and all those types of things. We have some very nice horses, and we're very grateful for the horses that we're sent. But we've got to try and make the best of each individual horse at their level. And the majority of the time I don't look at the pedigree. You train the horses in front of you, and if they happen to have ability, it doesn't really matter what they buy. But you obviously have to sort of circle back to the pedigree when you're trying to decide, will they improve for age, what ground would they like, what trip would they like. But no, look, we're very much, every horse that enters here gets treated exactly the same, and we try to get them as high as possible.
And what's the mindset that you have when you approach training? Are you quite a meticulous type?
I don't think I am, but then I think all the staff will tell you I am. I'm a little bit maybe ADHD when it comes to things. I think I'm very calm and collected, but I suppose when things start going a little bit awry in places, I'm like everyone else, I start to stress as well. Yeah, I'd say the main aspect of the way I approach it is take each horse as an individual and try and maximise them as best we can. This is Hey Boo, the last filly. Won her first two, then second in the Fred Darling, and then ran really well in the Guineas. Just green as grass still, and she ran really well at Sandown the other day off a long break. Ground was bottomless the other day, and she just got a bit tired. I think the mile, that stiff mile at Sandown, and the soft ground just stretched her. She's a good filly.
Did you give her a break on purpose, or was it?
Yeah. I made the mistake with Carnarvon. After the Oaks, she should have had a break, and we ploughed on and never really got her back. We got her back to a certain level. She won a listed race at 4, but this will be a very good. She missed all her 2-year-old career. She'll have one more run this year. She'll be a very good 4-year-old. And again, like I say, talking about patience, it's the client, John Mitchell, and his wife Sophie, are very, very patient. They were very happy. We discussed the plan, and they're more than happy to wait for her. And I think if I'd have, we'd have probably got a bit more black type if I'd have raced her all summer. But I don't think she's a big filly, and I think we'll see a lot better version of her next year than we will this year. Hey, time could tell I'm wrong, but I think we've given her the best chance to be the best version of herself.
And I think you're probably doing that, aren't you? We've seen the results improving, but also some of the young horses you've got coming through are looking quite talented themselves. The likes of Sarab Star, Queen All Star, they're coming into themselves in a very promising way.
Yeah, very much so. It's nice to see that natural progression through the year. Obviously, as a trainer, you can sort of see that sort of that early promise, and it's about sort of garnering that and maturing that into being the finished product, because just having talent alone means nothing. They've got to have a constitution. They've got to be sound. They've got to be mentally prepared to go to war almost on the racetrack. And it's nice to see that they are those horses that showed real flourishes of potential are now starting to become hardened athletes that can go and compete on the top stage.
And I imagine the group successes are really what you want to achieve above all else. And as I mentioned, the Sarab Star could be potentially the one to get you there.
You hope so. We all want the big winners. We all want Group 1 winners. Everyone says, what race do you want? Any big race. We've had pockets of successes in that, but like I say, we're all looking for that superstar. And look, at the minute he's a maiden winner. We obviously think he's very nice. Everyone knows that. He's got to mature into that finished article, that athlete. There's a lot of water under the bridge before you can start talking about him in that realm, but he certainly has the talent to be, and it's up to us to let him mature into being the finished article. We discuss loads of stuff together, but he also lets me get on with it. He knows it's got to be my sort of my baby, really. He's handed all the business everything over to me, but at the same time, he's still got a vested interest, I suppose.
Yeah, of course.
And I lean on him for lots of advice as well, and so he has lots of shares in horses still. He's still massively involved. So, we do lots of stuff together. But he's certainly allowed me to, express the way I want to do things. And look, and as I said to a lot of people, the skeleton of what Dad's done is there. It's just we tweak little things, and hopefully we've improved in places that have made a difference.
Was it always the plan for you to take her from like a young age?
I suppose, in my mind, yes.
Yeah.
But obviously, in Dad's mind, he had to figure out whether I first of all had the appetite and the know-how and the work ethic to be able to do it. Because it's all well and good saying, oh well, give it to my son, but you know, it's, you know, you're still doing the exact same job as any other trainer. You've got to run your business, you've got to train your horses, keep your clients happy, keep your staff happy.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's not easy. It's not just like, oh, just because your dad did it means you can do it. It's a lot of work that goes into making these big, you know, making these yards tick. So, so yeah. But you know, I always wanted to, and I think, you know, I think Dad's been very happy with what we've done so far, and I hope, like I say, I keep trying to do everything to make him proud, but he's a hard taskmaster. So it's, no, it's so far so good, and we just need a couple of those real big ones now to seal it, I suppose.
And just a couple of horses I wanted to touch on in specifics, one of whom is Queen All-Star. She had an entry in the Flying Five, not going to go down that route, but you do think highly of her.
Yeah, very much so. You know, she's always been a sprinter I've held in very high regard. Her work at home's always been very good. It was a nightmare at Sandown in the Coral Charge. They had a lot of rain, well, not a lot, they had a bit of rain just before the race, and the ground went very loose. She took a false step and William pulled her up. So that was a non-event. And then she came back really well to win a very competitive handicap against older horses, which is very hard for those 3-year-old fillies to do. And I think that Faust is one of the quickest horses I've ever seen. And so she did very well there. You know, we've all seen the 5 furlong and sprinting division. Those handicappers can, you know, it's not that big a step to take a step forward into the stakes company. So we'll probably look at the air listed race for her on our Gold Cup week. And if she were to go and win that, I would be trying to persuade Jabba to leave her for next year, and maybe we can have a crack at all the big ones with her next year.
And a word too on Miss Attitude, because she was mooted to be going for the Nunthorpe. That didn't happen in the end.
Yeah, no. Look, the owners decided they didn't want to supplement her, which is obviously their call. I was desperate to supplement her because, you know, I'm not saying she'd have won it, but the setup was perfect for her. She needs really fast ground, lots of cover, and a good pace to aim at, which she would have got. I'm not saying she'd have won, but I you know, her form through JM Jungle, she'd have been there or thereabouts, and then obviously we rerouted her to Ireland over 6, and she got caught on the wing. Didn't get anything that she wanted. So look, she's a filly that's taken the step up into the stakes company, and I'm hoping again she'll stay in training next year as a 6-year-old, and she'll be competing in those big races as well. And
as a 32-year-old, you must feel that you've got a fair bit of youth on your side. The best years are surely to come, and you've got plenty of those.
I'd hope so. I'm in a very fortunate position, but at the same time, you've got to be able to take that opportunity, and it's now time to grow and really kick on. And you know, I'm not here to take part. You know, I really want to be competing with the very best, and I feel that given the opportunity, you know, the team here at West Ilsley can do that.
The Thoroughbred Industry Employee Awards is an initiative that has gathered momentum over the last few years, and back in February, a very deserving winner was crowned Employee of the Year. With that in mind, we've come to Seven Barrows, the home of Nicky Henderson, to find out a little bit more.
I remember when they called me in the office because they wanted to announce me like a employee of the stud. He wanted to nominate me. I already feel lucky only in that moment. So, and then arrive in the final and won everything. The Groom Rider Awards and the Employee of the Year have been really, really amazing. I've been shocked in the first moment when I hear my name. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't breathe. As soon as they say Simone Meloni, I say, oh my God. I say, no way. I still sit on my chair. I say, what I have to do now? Because in my mind just went to black out everything. I just need a time to realize, but I'm still feeling really, really happy for what happened. Yeah, I'm really enjoy all the party we had together. As soon as I went back to the yard, see all the lads happy. We arranged a nice party. We went everybody outside together, and yeah.
We're very honoured that Simone came from here to York, won his own trophy, and then brought this one home. It's, I think, becoming increasingly iconic in our industry to have this as a benchmark of the wonderful work that the people who work in our stables, people who work in our stud farms, all the ancillary jobs that they do, that this is something that shows a recognition of their work, how much they provide for the benefit of our industry. And I think it's really important to Godolphin that we're part of explaining that story around the world, because it's not just here in the UK. grateful it is, and thanks all to the BHA for really making of it what it needed and deserved to be.
And it's an initiative that's really built momentum over the years.
Yes, certainly. Back in this is going to be the 22nd year of the awards, but early days it was difficult to get the understanding out and about that it's for the individuals who win it, but also it's prizes to bring back here to Seven Barrows. I mean, thank goodness Nicky Henderson has been such a supporter over all the years, but we've just walked past the Simone Maloney Lounge, where the prize money that goes back to the employers can create something that's so important for the rest of the team as well. It's a team award highlighted by the individual.
Yeah, and I think that's a massive incentive that something like a room can be refurbished because of the awards.
Yes, that's very special. In Ireland we have a racecourse award, and that's judged by the stable staff that go racing, and the money goes to making improvements on those racecourses. Each country has its own awards based on the culture of the industry in that country.
He's enthusiastic about everything, actually, as you can see, his whole demeanour, and a more likeable person is very hard to find. As you say, he loves what he does, but everybody loves having him on the place too. He's so wonderfully cheerful. It doesn't matter, things can go wrong in this game very easily, we all know that. And he just goes about it in such an enthusiastic and wonderful way. He was a breath of fresh air when he arrived, and everybody is. It's a big team here, but he blended into it with such ease, and I say, you couldn't have a more popular person on the place, and it's very special. The whole, the Godolphin Awards have been a major boost to the industry, but to the stable staff in particular, and a recognition now is essential. And I think it's proved over the years, how much it's appreciated by everybody, and that it raises their profile, and it's excellent.
And in your mind, was it quite an easy decision to nominate Simone in the first place?
Well, it was, because he's that good, but actually his father, with these awards, which we try and help along and try to win something as often as we can. The difficulty is actually selecting somebody. I've got to say, we've got so many good people, it's hard to sort of pluck one out of the team, which is a team. But it wasn't difficult to spot his whole, his worth is wonderful, but it's just how he goes about it, and he gets on with everybody, and he's a real team player. And it's the team that makes the dream, and we all dream, but you've got to have these guys behind us, and he's an example to everybody.
These awards are now part of the dialogue of the industry. They're part of, if you wanted to encourage people to come and work in the industry, it shows that the industry is modern. It's something that really brings forward the ethos of progressive sport that we are, matching other sports around the world, and indeed showing leadership well beyond in many respects as well. Our industry couldn't work without the professionalism of those who work with horses day to day. And that's why our principal, Sheikh Mohammed, when Godolphin started as a racing stable, it was very evident to him exactly why we were a success. It's the people who work with horses who make it happen, and the rest of us can't do a thing without them. The better they are, the more success we have, and therefore they need and deserve that recognition.
What do you think are your best qualities? What do you think is the reason that you were nominated and the reason that you won?
I think, I don't know, just to be honest, I just being myself. I explain exactly my life, what I'm doing, about my job, what I think about the horses, why I wake up early in the morning, why I'm doing this job. A lot of my friends say, why you do this job on the winter, really cold, you stay outside, you take a rain, the horse, they can be silly, quite fresh. I just love it. It's not, maybe, I don't know, maybe they see me, I could explain that for me it's not just a job, it's just a lifestyle, because that's what is it.
And you love it.
And I love it, yeah. So today I'm not at work, I'm just do my hobby,
That's it for the latest episode of This Racing Life. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next time.
This Racing Life with Albasti EquiWorld, the leading supplier of horse feeds and supplements.